Talk to me about the ambush. This isn't the first time you've used lethal force.
If I were wearing a mask, the press would be calling me a hero.
We surrender!
I work for the federal government. FBI helped keep me on the straight and narrow. But now, I'm drowning in deep water.
Dex. Do it, Dex.
Society won't understand.
Do it, Dex. Do it, Dex.
I've never seen a talent like yours.
We're in danger.
He found someone to kill me.
Hello, Karen. I'm Daredevil.
Hey everybody, it's Charlie. We got brand new Bullseye footage to break down, just explaining his backstory and just clarifying what they're doing with the character, and that he is the original version of Bullseye from the comics, but they're going with the Benjamin Poindexter name because they're trying to be a little more real world with it. The Bullseye of the comics just alluded to the name Benjamin Poindexter, but it was never verified. People just assumed that he was always lying about his true identity. Because it's New York Comic Con, there's a new round of that Spider-Man PS4 game giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on the video. Fun fact, Bullseye was actually Hawkeye during the Dark Reign version of the Avengers, the Dark Avengers, and there are rumors that Marvel just commissioned a script for Dark Avengers, so I'll talk about that at the end of the video because while that sounds really badass, there are a couple of other characters that they have to introduce before they could do something like that. So they're teasing how this Benjamin Poindexter FBI agent goes from the straight and narrow to becoming a villain by the end of the season. How it seems like he's suffering from some post-traumatic stress that he's dealing with a therapist here where all the tapes are that you later see him burning. Like this is probably once he flies off the deep end, like just burning all of his sessions with the therapist and finally flying off the handle and embracing this darkness within him. Within the context of the series, they haven't claimed how he came to be in the FBI, if he came from the military, because the original Bullseye of the comics actually was a mercenary who fought in the military for a brief period. Because you imagine how people got really twisted during the wars that you saw during the Punisher's backstory. Imagine whatever mental problems he's suffering from in this series. Some of that may have been caused by time in the military, but you also see flashbacks to him in the baseball uniform. The original version of Bullseye from the comics was also a baseball pitcher because of his perfect accuracy. He was a total badass. The trailer also lets you know what his skills are if you're not a big comic book reader. He has perfect aim, but he can also turn almost anything into a weapon. Like in the way you've seen Daredevil bank his Screamer sticks doing crazy trick shots in previous seasons of Daredevil and Defenders, Bullseye can do the same thing with pretty much any object you can imagine. It doesn't actually have to be a weapon. He can turn things into weapons. So based on the conversation he's having with the therapist, it seems like this is happening after Wilson Fisk's convoy gets hit. Remember, he turns state's evidence and is going to inform on other criminals in the city, and that's how they put him in the halfway house. So either the people that are running the hit on this convoy are working for a rival mob boss, or Wilson Fisk himself set this up to make it look like other people are coming after him. Because while all these explosions are happening, he doesn't seem terribly concerned, like this is no big deal or he expected this to happen. But based on the way that Bullseye reacts during this scene, it sounds like he's working his detail and wasn't prepared for that, loses his shit, and kills all the people that had come after them, even after they surrender. Like those dudes put their hands up and say, "Fine, we surrender," and he kills them anyway. A couple of them he kills with knife shots to the throat. So not only is he using deadly force, he's being vicious. So he has this edge to him that predates everything that's happening during season 1, but he says the FBI has been keeping him on the straight and narrow, keeping whatever dark side he has in check. So it sounds like something happened to him in the past that was really messed up that led him to be this way. So that's why I'm just leaning in a more Punisher direction. Like he has some trauma that he's dealing with that's either from the war in Afghanistan or somewhere else, or he was abused as a child. I love when he's running on the river here and he runs past this dude and just knocks him out of the way. Like you can tell they want you to feel like he's a badass, but he's a total asshole. He sounds like he hits this downward spiral, and Wilson Fisk starts to take advantage of him because you start to get the Fisk dialogue and he says, "You have skills, society won't understand." And then you see him wearing the Daredevil costume, looking like he just got done doing something really hard. Like Wilson Fisk probably tries to sell him on the idea of getting rid of the Daredevil and that being a good idea because of the way that a villain would explain that. Like, look, I can do a better job of saving the city if we get rid of these crazy vigilantes. So it's not so much Bullseye wanting to be evil, it's him being seduced by Wilson Fisk and falling for him and then just embracing the darkness within him. It'll be interesting to see how they explain him wearing this Bullseye hat. Maybe that's just a nickname that someone gave him in the FBI or in the military, but usually that's the way they do code names like that. Like, people like this don't call themselves Bullseye. Usually they get the name from other people, like Killmonger didn't name himself Killmonger. He was given that name because of all his kills while he was in the military. We get more of the scene from Karen Page's newspaper when he comes after her, probably to try to freak them out. Obviously, Karen Page knows that it's not Matt. So we get a slightly different version of the scene where in the last trailer, it was Matt saying, "Who are you?" after he recognizes his skills, like, "Wow, you're wearing my costume and you have moves that seem a lot like mine." And he says, "I'm Daredevil." But in this version, he says, "I'm Daredevil Karen," as if she's like, "Who the hell are you? You're definitely not Matt Murdock." Kind of hard to tell where this church scene happens during his arc, because it doesn't seem like Matt Murdock is anywhere in here, and obviously this is Wilson Fisk just wanting to turn the public against Daredevil, so what would do a better job of that than having Daredevil mysteriously attack a bunch of churchgoers? But based on Bullseye's mental downward spiral, it would be kind of hard to sell him on something like this early on, so maybe this is a little bit later. I love the imagery of this picture too. It looks like Kingpin is going to negotiate with other powerful people in the city, or there's some bargaining arrangement that he's making, and he makes it seem like the Devil of Hell's Kitchen is his own personal bodyguard. Pretty much all the scenes you see with someone in the Daredevil costume fighting people is the Bullseye fake version of Daredevil. So like this FBI hallway fight here, I don't know if this is going to be the quote-unquote hallway fight of the season, but it's probably just part of the plan of turning the FBI against Daredevil. So he pretends to be Daredevil attacking his own co-workers without them knowing who he really is. Love the shot of them charging here inside the newspaper too. They just want to make it seem like they're relatively evenly matched, like Bullseye is every bit as skilled as Daredevil, so it's going to be the fight of his life. Then you see him punch Matt out while he's in the black costume inside the convent here, and you see Karen Page cradle him as if he's dying. This is actually right out of the comics, except the comic book version was Matt cradling Karen Page right after she had died. There are already a whole bunch of visual comic book Easter eggs that you guys have probably spotted, so they're just going to continue to show up throughout the season. The rumor about the Dark Avengers script is just that Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios commissioned a script. They've done that for a whole bunch of other movies, so it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to make the movie or even make one right away. But if they do wind up doing that, that might take the place of any potential Thunderbolts movie, and maybe they would push a Thunderbolts project to a TV series on that Disney streaming service. Because even though we could stand to use a few more, they already have enough villains to do a Thunderbolts series that are in lockup within current day MCU. Like the Ghost character that we just met during Ant-Man and the Wasp, she's a perfect candidate for a Thunderbolts series. So just keep that in the back of your mind. If that becomes more real, then I'll do a new video about it. But for right now, it just sounds like it's buried underneath a potential pile of projects that Marvel is working on for the next 10 years. What's going to happen is I just got screeners for the first half of the season, so I'm allowed to do my non-spoilery review next Friday. So it'll be about a week before that post, no worries. Click here for my Venom post-credit scene video, and click here to watch that longer Daredevil Season 3 trailer. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.